Good day, everybody. It is Calxiyn here, and thank you for attending Calxyn's Royal Court today, where we have gathered to discuss ODDTAXI episode 12. I'm really excited to just get into this episode, to see where everything is going, to see how it all wraps up, this like two-part finale, basically. At least that's how I kind of like feel like it's gonna be, right? Because we only have 12 and 13, and I'm kind of like, I'm gonna have an existential crisis about it, because this has been my entire summer. Like, my hot furry summer has been ODDTAXI and Beastars. Obviously, you guys are seeing this in oh gosh, I don't know. But like, I'm recording in August. And speaking of which, you guys should check out the Patreon if you want early access and exclusive access to my full watch along for this episode, but also for episodes 13 is probably up already. So if you want to kind of like skip the wait to next week, just binge it all. Those should be up now on Patreon. And so yeah, I think that that's basically it. You guys can obviously like subscribe to get notified when I post 13 otherwise, if you're just gonna like wait until it comes out. And I'm just excited to like go on this like our final journeys together, you know what I mean? Our final taxi ride together, if you will, right? Or not our final, but almost our final, right? And so yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling now. Let's just get into it. Okay. Oh, Yano already knew to check. They didn't even need to do that. No. Check them now. Come on, Imai. No, now. Do it now. Oh, no. Damn. So Dobu's plan is going well. Damn. You're gonna pay your fare. Damn. Okay. Oh, did you see that? Odokawa put the tracker. Nice. So now the gun guy's gonna go get Dobu. Nice. Oh, damn, they're talking about Little Diamon. Oh, see, it's Don Ranku. No, he's not. I think that he's gonna be the smartest all along, you know? No. Oh, the little thing from the backpack. Yeah, Don Ranku doesn't care anymore. He's like, who cares if I get exposed for being friends with a Yakuza, you know? Oh, he stepped down from judging. What if that means the Homo sapiens have a chance now? Because I don't think he liked them very much. Damn. Okay, so he convinced him to go up after all. Okay. I hope they actually do well, you know? I don't want them to fail, you know? Oh, what if they go off script? Oh no. No! That's not good. Oh, there we go. No. Oh man, why don't we chat in my cop car, bitch? Oh man, are they gonna run for it? Oh man, damn. See, y'all should have checked before. Bro, this is no time to rhyme. Oh, wait, but what about his money? Hello? Yeah, exactly. What about Imai's money? Oh, that's nice. Oh, okay, bye-bye, Imai. Good job. Okay, so they got arrested. That's, good. Maybe you should retain a lawyer, guys. Oh, well, that's not good. Oh, that's why he told Imai to leave, because he knew that Dobu was gonna do that. Damn! Oh, don't hit Odokawa. He's driving. That's not nice. Bro. Odokawa's already cheated death, you know? Oh. Damn. Okay. All right, go get it, Dobu. It do be like that, you know? True, that's what I was trying to do. Right. No, but he wasn't the one who shot him at the harbor. It was Daimon who shot him at the harbor. So he still has one. Dobu's gonna die. Right? Because it wasn't him. It was a white hand. So he still has one bullet. Oh. Damn. Odokawa was like, I don't think so. Oh, okay, but he still has a bullet left. Oh, poor Odokawa. Oh. Oh, damn. Oh. Oh. Oh, no. That's not good. You can have it if you want. That's not good. But maybe he'll feel better. Dobu is ditch 11. Oh no. Wait, that's why he had the eraser, because boss knows Dan Roku. Oh my god. No, he's gonna shoot Dobu. See? Are you ditch 11? Oh. This is so tense. Just let him check. Just let him check, Dobu. Bro, just let him check. No, Dobu, he's not bluffing. Just let him check. Okay. Right. Dobu, that is you. Oh, see? Dobu, you were lying? Oh, no. Damn. Damn. Did you do it, Dobu? Hey, Dobu's gonna get his justice. Sorry. No, he does. He does have one bullet left because it wasn't him. Okay. Well, it do be like that sometimes. I knew it because I told you guys the hand was a different color. So I knew he had one bullet left. Oh yeah, they were talking about that doctor, right? Yano was saying something about the doctor, right? Oh, damn. Yeah, Yano was talking about an unlicensed doctor. Damn! Oh, he's gonna take it to Imai. Damn. Oh, Imai can't go home. Odokawa was just peacing out, I guess. So I guess, but anyone can take that car at this point. See? Like them. Uh-oh. Well, that's not good. Wait, what happened to the police? Why didn't they get arrested? What the fuck? How did they get away? Oh, they hijacked the car? Oh, no. Well, that's not good. But they're so focused on the taxi that they don't know that the money's in the van. So that's good. Fuck, don't. Damn. Oh. I feel so bad for him. Wait, that's from Odokawa's car. Oh, Odokawa has one too. So Dobu's boss is the one that took care of them. See? So Dobu's boss was running the foundation, which means Odokawa has one because and that was why the guy in the sauna said the thing. Oh. I think it's too late for him too. Oh. drama. Under a vending machine. So, I guess Mitsuya put it there for him to go get, you know? Fake Mitsuya. I'm assuming. Oh. Oh. But yeah, that's interesting. How did he know to go there? Or I guess she just dumped it, hoping he would go find it. I don't know. So, he's saying he doesn't have anything for this week. But maybe that's because Mitsuya, like, threatened him not to release something. You know what I mean? Because this is a little weird that he's like, oh, I'm gonna play Mystery Kiss's song. Like, that's a clue. That's why, like, next week will be his final broadcast, because they're threatening him, right? So, I don't believe the fact that he found it under a vending machine. I think that Sakura, like, called him and, like, threatened him or something. Okay, so what I think happened is I feel like that Sakura threatened him. Like, that's what I think happened. And I think that, like, this is supposed to be a clue. He's basically saying, you know, I don't have anything for this week. Let's just play some mystery. Oh my gosh. Let's just play some Mystery Kiss music because the mom found the website. So I think that, like, she, like, threatened him because he's like, oh, I'm over it. I reached my limit. Yeah, it seems the jig is up. So that means that he knows he was exposed. So I think that Sakura, that's not good. That's not good for this man. Sorry to this man. Going out with a bang, that sounds a little sus, not gonna lie. I feel like he's gonna die. I feel like Mitsuya killed this man, you know what I mean, to keep him quiet, right? So he's like, oh, I guess I'll play some music. Let's play Mystery Kiss, right? Like, the reason why he's saying that is to give us a clue. Like, oh, you know, the jig is up. Like, you know, I've just reached my limit. I'm just, you know, like, he's only saying that. He's trying to give us a clue. And the clue is, why is the jig up? Because of Mystery Kiss. Like, he's trying to leave us breadcrumbs, you know what I mean? Like, he's trying to tell his audience, like, in universe, why he could be quitting. He wants that speculation. So I think that Sakura basically, like, threatened his ass. Hopefully he's okay. Sorry to this man. All right, everybody, let us get into the review. And this episode was crazy. And I'm a bit worried, like, I'm not worried about ODDTAXI sticking the landing, but I am worried about sticking the landing in general. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you have this much of an ambitious, like, plot where you're tying up all these loose ends, I just hope that they're able to tie everything up. And I guess what I mean by that is that I have been very disappointed by some anime this year, as some of you may know, right? Like, I have seen, you know, anime completely, like, derail in the ending, in, like, the last, like, stretch and everything, right? Like, stuff like, I mean, Neverland derailed very, like, soon, I guess. But there are other shows like Wonder Egg Priority that I've heard, like, had a very strong start and then totally just botched the ending. Like, it does happen, right? And so, like, I'm worried, I guess, in my heart, you know, like, I'm worried about, like, them botching all of this, but, like, in my head, I'm like, no, like, the writing of the show is top notch, obviously they're gonna be fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's logic versus, like, anxiety, I guess. Like, my logic says, like, people have said that this show is a masterpiece. I'm sure that they're going to stick the ending, everything is gonna be fine, right? Like, the writing team is phenomenal, they have done everything well so far, but then the anxiety part says, but what if this is Promised Neverland Part 2 Electric Boogaloo? You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's just sort of it, but anyway, the reason why I'm saying that, though, is because, like, I wonder if next episode is going to, like, wrap up everything, especially because, like, Sakura hasn't been arrested yet, or even revealed as the killer. Like, we kind of got, like, a Dobu sort of wrap up, but, like, there's just a lot to unpack, and so let's just, like, you know, let's just get into it. So first, Odokawa says, like, Imai, please check it, and I thought that he sent Imai a text, like, check his phone, right? But then I realized he's just, like, praying, basically. Like, he's just hoping that Imai will suggest to check another case, you know? Like, he didn't actually, like, send him any kind of message or anything like that. Anyway, I love how the bank people are trying to be like, you're certain that this is the right car and you haven't been held hostage and stuff, but they're just kind of doing that as a formality, right? Because they're in on all this. Like, they knew that this was gonna happen, right? And they knew that they were going to be wrapped up in crime, basically. Of course, Imai did check earlier, though, and I feel like that he could have checked inside, I guess, or, like, that's just, like, total, like, bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, Imai did not check. or he only checked one case, as we know, as all of the other ones are filled with newspaper and stuff like that. And so it's like, oh, they're definitely real. And so then Yano brings up like, hey, you know, we should check like the other ones as well. We should check a second one. But then it's actually the polar bear guy, I guess we'll call him, who's like, oh, but we should drive away from here first, you know, we should leave. And I sort of wonder if he had done that because Dobu told him to, because Dobu basically beat him up and was kind of like betray the boss, and Odokawa was kind of like to Yamamoto betray the boss, right? So I wonder if the reason why the polar bear suggests to leave is because he's in on it with Dobu now, right? Because he could have been like, oh, okay, Dobu told me to tell him like not to check another case, and so I will reinforce the fact that we should leave if Yano brings up checking a second one, basically. You guys understand what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, what if he basically told the polar bear guy, like, make sure that they do not check a second case no matter what anybody says? And obviously, Yamamoto isn't there because, like, Odokawa basically told Yamamoto, check a second case. But what if Dobu told the polar bear guy, do not check a second case, right? Yamamoto is now out of the picture, right? Yano was kind of a wild card whether or not he would check, but what if he told the polar bear guy to betray Yano and basically suggest to like just leave and get out of Dodge? Like, that could have been a thing, or it could have just been like naturally like his personality and stuff, right? Who knows? But I think that that would actually be very interesting. Anyway, then Dobu drives up and they're like, are we gonna be all right? They're not gonna retaliate later, are they? And see, I think that that's actually very interesting because we have this kind of theory that we've been working on the past couple days or weeks if you're watching this week to week, and it's kind of been this theory that like the reason why Otokawa's parents died was because of some sort of like gang retaliation, that it wasn't actually a suicide, but it was like some sort of murder, I guess, because of the Yakuza. Like, say for example, okay, like the dad was found out to be a criminal, and so he could have like, you know, taken his wife and like they both like went into the car. So it could have been something like that, that they were exposed as Yakuza, but we also had another idea that it wasn't really a suicide at all, that they were forced into the car by the Yakuza or something. Like, it could have been something like that, right? And so we don't really know. And so I wonder if that like they're not going to retaliate later, are they, could be a clue, because what if somebody retaliated against Otokawa's parents, which is why Otokawa was an orphan. But I don't know about that either, just because like it seems like the boss helps all people that have been victims of traffic accidents, because the two police officers also got funding from the foundation, right? And so it kind of seems a little, I don't want to say far-fetched. There's not enough evidence to say that the boss is basically giving money to the kids that he wronged somehow, right? Because you could argue like, oh, the boss is just giving money to all of the kids that have been orphaned because of his gang activity. But there's not really any evidence in that, because the Daimon's parents got hit by a taxi driver, and there's no evidence to say that that taxi driver was like involved in any gang activity or anything. Like, it just seemed like it was an accident, right? And so it seems more likely that like the boss just has a foundation for people victims of like traffic incidences, right? Or traffic deaths. But I wonder why specifically traffic. Like, does the boss have his own sort of history with that, you know what I mean, to help like the victims of people that have been orphaned, I guess, because of like traffic related deaths and stuff. And so I don't think it's necessarily like gang retaliation, but the fact that they do bring that up does mean that it could happen, and it probably does happen. And so is that like a possibility, you know? So what's funny about this is that Dobu says, you'll get paid once I check the contents, but I wonder if Dobu was ever planning on paying them, because he just drives away and now he's dead. So it's either one of two things. Dobu was never planning on paying them to begin with, or like now these bitches just aren't getting paid. You know what I mean? Because like Dobu's dead, right? So Otokawa doesn't know to go pay them, unless he remembers that Dobu said that there would be 1,000 or 100,000 for each bank employee, right? But then how do you even know which bank employees were working that day at the same time, right? You would have to be like, hello, who was involved in the illegal robbery, right? Like, these guys, they're never getting paid. Sorry to say it. And so I feel like that's kind of funny when you think about it. But anyway, and so yeah, they have all the money, and Otokawa was like, wow, whoa, right? Bet you wish you were getting a cut now. No, I don't need that, but you're gonna pay your taxi fare, right? Because again, Otokawa has the money from the foundation, which is kind of funny, because something that I was talking about before is, isn't it funny that Otokawa was trying to take down like the gang that like gave him life, though? You know what I mean? Like, basically, like the boss is the reason why Otokawa has been able to live. Like, is the reason why Odokawa is still like, you know, that he wasn't like in an orphanage, that he had a benefactor, but the only reason he had a benefactor was because of Boss. And so it's almost like Odokawa is taking down the man that actually helped him, which is something that I talked about like during the sauna scene, because Odokawa says, I don't need any money, I just want to repay the people that have helped me throughout my life. But now he's doing the exact opposite. He's like taking down the boss's Yakuza. And so I think that that's funny. And I wonder if Odokawa will feel guilt about that when he finds out. If he finds out, will he feel guilty that he, you know, took down the boss's criminal organization when they were helping kids, when that was the whole like purpose of the gang activity, I guess, like kind of like a Robin Hood type situation, a bit more like morally gray than that, you could say, like, you know, like a bit more on the spectrum of doing many bad things, right? But like you could also say that Odokawa will feel guilty for, I guess, living off of the backs of extorted people, because all this money comes from crime. And so you could also say like that he won't feel guilty for taking down the boss. He'll feel guilty for, I guess, accepting the money, and his entire life is basically like built off of a lie and built off of like the backs of other people that were extorted. He could feel really bad about that, like that could really hurt him. And so yeah, this is what I mean by there's only one more episode, so I'm like, how are they going to address all this? You know what I mean? And I do like the fact that Odokawa put the tracking device in the car. Obviously then Dobu calls like the police officer, right? So it does seem like that one is Big Diamon. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that they did a switcheroo or anything. And then we get a conversation in the police station where they're like, oh, I heard he lost his gun. He's too scared to report it, so he's run away, right? And so that is actually foreshadowing to the fact that it was Little Diamond that shot Dobu as we thought. I think that that reinforces it, because I did have three ideas, that it was either Shirakawa, which I don't think that it was, or it was Rui, or it was Little Diamond, because they all have white paws, right? And so I knew from the very beginning, because that was like the perfect thing in this episode, is that I knew that the gotcha gamer guy had one more bullet. Like I knew, but then Dobu was acting tough and he was trying to bluff it, right? And so I knew all along. And so I think that this is again more foreshadowing to the fact like, oh, Little Diamond lost his gun. When's the last time we've seen somebody else with a gun, right? Like you could kind of like put it together like with all those clues, even right here, you know, like I put it together last episode because of the paw differences, but like you could even like, you know, start to realize right now. And that's what I think that the show is really good at, right? Because a twist should not come out of nowhere, you know? Like a twist should be like you're shocked but not surprised, if that makes sense. Like you're still shocked that it goes down, but you shouldn't be surprised that it happened, right? Because a good twist will be something that you look back on in hindsight and you'll be like, oh shit, that makes so much sense. Like Imai saying that Mitsuya's dancing got sloppy, stuff like that. And so I don't think that a good twist has to be unpredictable. In fact, I think the best twists are the predictable ones, because it showcases that you as the audience could have figured it out all along. You know what I mean? Like if you were paying enough attention. And so that's what I really like in my shows. I don't want to be surprised. I like to be shocked, but I don't want to be like, oh, this came out of nowhere. Like what the fuck is happening, right? Like I want everything to have like a natural or like rational, you know, a rational progression, I guess you could say, right? And the Little Diamond stuff and the gotcha guy having one more bullet, that was perfect. And so I like being like rewarded in that way. That's what's rewarding about doing these like analysis videos, is looking at every detail, and then we can say like, oh my god, we got it, right? Like all the way back in episode 2, I think, where we first saw Imai, I had the theory that Mitsuya and Sakura weren't the same person, right? And then like, you know, seeing it happen, like some people may say, oh, she's already figured it out, like that's not fun anymore, like her reaction won't be fun when she sees it actually happen. But I totally disagree with that. Like I think the rewarding part of doing analysis videos like these is being like, yeah, like I did it, you know, I was right. And sometimes that rightness kind of overshadows the emotion that you're supposed to feel, you know what I mean? Like I feel like that I was so sure about Dobu getting shot that like instead of being panicked or whatever, like I just felt like vindicated for a minute, but I was still kind of sad when he died. So yeah, like that's the only, I guess, pitfall, is that sometimes when the audience figures out something, they may be so focused on like the rewarding feeling of like, yeah, I got him, right? That they may not be crying when they're supposed to. That's happened to me a couple times. Anyway, and so we have Don Ranku in the police station and he's talking to the boss, it sounds like, right? Like it sounds like that they're talking on the phone, like, I'm sorry I couldn't help you, right? Because he was tasked with basically finding his daughter, right? We knew that from the very beginning, and he didn't find her in time. She was already dead. Then Don Ranku says, the police and media are doing a good enough job distracting me. I don't know what to say, right? And so that's, I think, again, boss on the phone, and you see her little charm. Her little charm's all dirty and everything, like the one that was on her backpack. So he says, you're sure it's all right to meet with me? Like they could be listening in on this phone call. Yeah, I don't care anymore. I want to take a break for a while, right? Because the whole thing was like, I think that he was kind of distancing himself from Dawn because, you know, it would be a big scandal if he associated with a Yakuza boss. And then he was told that his daughter ran away because she found out the association between him and the Yakuza boss. And so now it's like, well, my daughter's already dead. I don't care about my own reputation. I have nothing else to protect, right? Like I wanted to protect my daughter. I wanted her to come home despite what she found out, but now she's dead. So there's nothing left. There's no reputation to protect because in theory, he could have felt like, oh, you know, I need to keep quiet about this because my daughter still wants to be like an idol. So I need to keep my ties to the Yakuza secret because that's what Yamamoto basically said, is that like if they continue to prod and investigate, eventually they'll find like you know, the connection, because Yamamoto basically said, yeah, we found out she ran away because she found out that you were friends with a Yakuza boss, and she thought that that would ruin her career. So if she did return, right, you know, Don Ranku could have had like a vested interest in making sure that that stayed secret, right? But now there is no reason to keep it a secret anymore. He doesn't need to do it for Mitsuya's career because Mitsuya's gone. I also wonder what Dan Ranku will think if he finds out that his friend, right, like their gang is almost like kind of responsible for covering up her death, right? Because like the Yakuza guys, they didn't do it. Like it was Mitsuya, right? It was Sakura, I guess I should say. Like I'm pretty sure that Sakura killed Mitsuya at this point. And so like, it's not their fault, but like they covered it up and they knew all along, right? But like the boss didn't know that. Like the boss didn't know that Yano had covered it up, right? So it's not necessarily like his fault, I get. Like it's not their fault, but I feel like Don Ranku could probably hold resentment towards the boss for their gang members being involved with like the cover up, you know what I mean? Anyway, so Dan Ranku steps down from judging and it's like, oh, well, surely he'll judge the main event, right? But I wonder if that could actually work out for the Homo sapiens because I think that like Don Ranku didn't like them. So I wonder if him not being there will actually like help in their favor, right? And I don't have a lot to say about like, you know, their little comedy thing. It does seem like though that like his heart's not really in it. Like, I wonder if he's supposed to be like, you know, it's supposed to be like a more like straight man, funny man type thing. But it seems like that Baba has a lot of energy, whereas he doesn't. And I wonder if that was intentional or maybe that was just, I don't know. Like, it's hard to tell, especially because like it's not in English, right? So I can't hear like inflection and tone and stuff like that. And so it's hard for me to tell, like, is he just being like very serious, like as part of the gag, or is it supposed to represent that he has basically like given up already, despite them doing the time machine joke and everything, you know what I mean? And so yeah, they're basically like doing their joke stuff, and we actually see that the high school student has the pen right here, and we hear about this in the audio drama, and I talked about this a little bit already, but it seems like I don't believe the whole bullshit about him finding it under a vending machine. I'm pretty sure Sakura like threatened his ass, but I wonder now, like, he's just kind of going about as normal though, so that's like the weird part. I think that this joke is interesting though, like just kind of for the context of like, oh, they're talking about their regrets, but then they actually do regret things like in their real life. You know what I mean? Like the time machine joke is kind of just like, it's almost like a vessel, or it's almost like a meta in a way, because they're doing this joke about regrets, but the characters we know have a lot of regrets themselves. And so I thought that that was kind of like, you know, that was interesting that they decided to write like a joke like that specifically for the comedians to say, because it also ties into how the comedians actually feel, which I think is really, really good. And then he kind of goes like off script. You know what I mean? Like he goes off script and he's like, no, I regret teaming up with you. I regret becoming a comedian. I shouldn't have chased my dreams. And I wonder if they can salvage that, because it could be seen as like part of the act. and like some like meta, like a bit more of a meta break the fourth wall type joke, or if he's just having like legitimately like a mental breakdown or something, you know? Meanwhile, we have the police car. There's not really anything to like say in here. I do like this, that it's like, oh, you know, we're just Imai's friends. We're just helping him out. Like the, I guess the act that they were gonna pull in case they did get pulled over and everything. But yeah, it's just like, I love the, I'll be running the meter while I wait, but there's not that much to like say about like this particular section, right? I will say though, what the fuck was this, okay? Like, you know what I mean? Like, look at this truck from above. It almost doesn't look like the same car, you know what I mean? Because now look at it from side by side, like it just looks so long. I thought that that was so funny. Anyway, I feel like that this bridge is also going to be important because it's shown up a couple times now. Like, first of all, like Big Diamon was like left for dead here on this bridge, right? The second time I think was Kikihana that I can remember, and then obviously we have this scene right here is where they're like stopping on the bridge and stuff. So I wonder if the bridge will be like important, because obviously it's kind of like the bridge with like the land and then the water, right? And I know that that sounds stupid, like yes, Cal, bridges go over water, not everything's a metaphor, but like, isn't that kind of like interesting though? Because it's kind of like, you know, Odokawa's parents had drowned and now like, you know, there's a place where the road does meet the sea in a sense, right? So yeah, a little bit worried because I do think that they are going to do a kind of like Odokawa will return from whence he came type of thing. And like the Odokawa we know now was born because of the drowning. So I feel like something is going to lead to Odokawa drowning, basically. I don't know if he's going to do that out of the guilt of like what he did to Boss, or knowing that his life only exists because of all the people the Boss extorted. Like, I don't know if it is going to be an S-wording, I guess, which would kind of, I guess, thematically make sense because his parents also S-worded themselves, right? And we don't know why. At least it seems like that they did. And so, I don't know, that could be a really tragic ending, but I feel like it's gonna happen. Like, I feel like that he is basically, again, it's gonna be a full circle moment where he, you know, like, say he's, like, being chased down or something by the criminal people, by, like, the Yakuza, like Yano and the bear guy. Like, say he's being chased, and then, like, his taxi goes over the edge of this bridge. He ends up in the water, and then he realizes, like, all of the memories come flooding back. No pun intended, right? All of the memories come flooding back, and he realizes that this is how his parents died. So at first he's scared, but then he, like, releases, I guess, you know? I don't know. Like, it could be, like, something very, like, meaningful like that. But it's then it's like, okay, but, like, I feel like that if Odokawa dies, he at least needs to have achieved the justice that he wanted. Like, yes, Dobu's dead, so fine. But I feel like that the only way I'll be satisfied with, like, an Odokawa dies ending is if, like, all of his actions led to Sakura getting arrested, to Don Ranku having closure, right, to Imai getting his money, to Yano and the polar bear guy and everybody else, like, being arrested. Like, I feel like that the only way they can do a, like, Odokawa dies ending is also if everyone is saved because of his actions. Kind of like a martyr type thing, I don't know. So yeah, they're just having, like, a, you know, a conversation about the money and everything. I don't think that this part's really all that important, other than the newspaper thing. And I think it was funny though that Yano like stops rapping, right? Like he's not rhyming anymore, you know? He's like, damn it, somebody set us up. And so yeah, then he starts to rhyme again, but it's like, let's have, you know, a chat in our car first, right? And so it's like, then they realize that, you know, that the police officer is in on it, right? And I love how he lets Imai go, because I feel like that even though for all of the, I guess, bad parts about Big Diamon, right? Like, he doesn't want innocent people to get hurt. He lets Imai go because he knows that this is gonna be a shit show. Why did you let him leave? That doesn't make any sense. And then that's when they realize, like, oh, like, this police officer has been, like, bought off, basically, by Dobu. They already know that Imai is an innocent victim and all this, and let Imai go. So I feel like, you know, for his faults, Big Diamon does have, like, that about him, if that makes sense, right? And so, yeah, I just love this conversation, how he's, like, grilling them, right? Hold on. Hey, are you really a cop? And then he shows the badge, and they realize, I think, they realize that it's Big Diamon and that's the one that Dobu was friends with, right? No, we've been screwed, right? That's Dobu's accomplice, right? And so they didn't know it was Daimon at first. We know it was Daimon because we have Odokawa vision, but they didn't recognize Daimon at all because Daimon just looks like some like random ass man, you know what I mean? So I thought that that was great. So yeah, then we have some Yano gloating. He's like, oh, we did it. The panic was exquisite. Like, what a perfect victory. And then Odokawa was like, well, not for me. Like, I didn't get my way yet, you know, because Odokawa's plan basically fell apart after they didn't check the case, you know? And so anyway, then I think Odokawa probably said something like, oh, you know, like, it's not perfect yet, right? Like, kind of a double meaning, because then Dobu says, yeah, you're right, we should get out of here first before we call it a perfect victory, you know? Like, almost like, oh yeah, Odokawa, you're right, I spoke too soon type of thing, right? But then Odokawa's saying it has a double meaning. It's not only, like, it's not for Dobu's benefit at all. Odokawa's saying it's not a perfect victory yet because Dobu hasn't been taken down, and neither have, well, Yano and I guess the polar bear guy, in theory, would have gotten arrested if Big Diamon didn't get beat up. But, like, it's not a perfect victory yet because Dobu hasn't gone down, right? And so, yeah, this is a little sad just because it's like, oh, acting like we're strangers already. Like, they've been through so much together, you know? Like, they really have, like, in a weird way. Were you planning to turn me into the police? There's no point. Big Diamon's on my side, right? And then he hits Odokawa. Don't even think about betraying me now, right? Even if I'm arrested, no matter how many years it takes, I'll find you. Shirakawa, too. What are you gonna do to Shirakawa? I'll kill her, right? Fine. I almost forgot that you're that kind of guy. And so I think that that's actually very interesting because I think that there was a point where Odokawa almost had, like, not sympathy for Dobu, but saw Dobu as more, like, morally gray, right? Like, in that conversation where he's like, no, like, Shirakawa, you talked me out of it. Actually, I've decided he's a bad guy again, right? Because they have been through a lot together, you know? And so it's almost like Odokawa forgot he was a bad guy for a minute, and Dobu had to, like, reinforce the fact he's a bad guy in order to solidify the fact that Odokawa is doing the right thing by trying to get rid of him, you know? Is your boss that desperate for money? The boss only has one rule for us. What's that? I'm not telling you, right? And so I'm assuming that's gonna be don't steal from, like, innocent people type thing, right? Like, in your pursuit of getting the money, don't hurt the innocent, you know, something like that. I don't know, but it could be because I feel like that the boss, like, I think that the being desperate for money thing is kind of ironic because, again, the boss is only desperate for money to help, like, disadvantaged, like, children like Odokawa once was. But it's also, like, I wonder if, like, the reveal of the rule, like, the one rule that the boss had, will be what exposes it to Odokawa, basically. So then we have the gotcha guy. Everything's going according to Keikaku. Also, while I'm here, I will mention that I did realize this during my reaction, obviously. I'm sure I included that clip. But the little bird that Odokawa has in his car is the same one that was given to the kids when they, like, graduate from the foundation, when they start making their own money. So that was a nice tie-in that if you were paying attention, you would have been like, oh shit, Odokawa has one of those. Anyway, I think that the gotcha guy scene was basically, like, the best, you know what I mean? Like, was the best scene in the entire episode, especially because, like, you know, you have the tension of the guy had 6 bullets, count them, right? 2 shots at the cabaret club, 1 shot into your house, 2 shots during the car chase, and he shot me at the harbor, right? Like, Dobu thought that he was genuinely out, but an observant viewer will know that he wasn't, because it wasn't him who shot him at the harbor. But Dobu also doesn't know that, because Dobu does not have Odokawa vision, right? Like, the only reason why I could tell that it was a different person was because of the paw color, whereas if it was just, like, a human hand, you wouldn't be able to tell. And I think that that is actually what's so great about the show, is, like, so much of it hinges on, like, Odokawa vision, in terms of, like, you figuring out things that, like, regular people can't figure out, you know? Like, I guess, like, again, the Mitsuya stuff is a perfect example. Like, the reason why nobody can tell them apart is genuinely because, like, they were cast to look similar, first of all. Like, they look similar, and also, like, that's why they were wearing masks. But yet Odokawa could, like, kind of tell them apart with his, like, psychic vision, I guess you could say, you know, his synesthesia, right? And so I just find that very interesting that Dobu couldn't tell that the person that shot him at the wharf was Daimon, right? Little Daimon. And simultaneously, the gotcha guy couldn't tell it was Dobu in the profile picture, even though that's obvious to us, right? And it's obvious to Odokawa. So I just thought that that was really fitting. And then he's like, I'm here for the driver, right? That's my gun. Not only that, but I've been shot. Okay, so I have plenty of business with you. What do you want? And so you see that he doesn't even, like, know what he wants, really. Like, he's not angry. He's just like a zombie at this point, right? I don't know what I want anymore. At first I thought I lost something important. And why I wanted to show this was because the head tilts are so creepy. Like, they're done so well and they're so creepy, right? That alone was sustaining me. Like, you see how he turns his head, right? Like, it's just like, oh, they did like the horror of this like so well. It was so good. And so then Dobu's like, hold on, he took something important from you? And Otokawa was just like, not me. You know what I mean? I have no idea what he's talking about. I want him to apologize. I've harassed him plenty, but I've lost a lot too. So it seems almost like that he has fallen out of the idea of like killing Otokawa at this point. He just wants Otokawa to say that he's sorry. Nothing will satisfy me. Like, not even killing him will make me feel better. So I just want him to apologize. And so Otokawa hides behind the car and he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm sorry, I guess, right? Like, he starts like behind the safety of the car, but then like comes out at the front, right? And you see that he's getting irritated. So Otokawa was like trying to, I guess like calm him down after, right? Because he's like, you know, oh, you nearly ran me over with your car. You broke my phone. By something important, you meant your phone, right? And so Otokawa was ready to like launch into his, you know, old man lecture like he normally does. But then he basically like, you know, he tones himself down. He bites his tongue basically because he can see that this man is like deranged. You know what I mean? Because it's really not about the phone. It's about like, obviously we know the Gotcha Guy's whole story. So we know that the phone was like a vessel for like a will to live and everything, right? And so then he's like, oh, you know, I'm sorry, like that's not an excuse for taking something important from you. That was inconsiderate of me. Like, he apologizes, right? And I wonder if he genuinely means it. And I also wonder if this is the first time Otokawa has ever said that he's sorry. I don't remember. But now it all wraps up together because the eraser pops out of his pocket and then you can see his face. And his face is just like he can't even believe it. Like, he's so shocked, you know what I mean? And so then he's like, where did you get this, right? I gave that to Shirakawa. Why do you have it, right? Why did you have this? And so now, right, he's like totally off Otokawa because Otokawa just got it from Dobu. Like, Dobu is now the source of all of his pain in life, basically. When? More than 15 years ago? Nah, I forget. It was a long time. And so he's just like mumbling to himself, right? Like, oh, you know, like maybe like Dobu's not Ditch 11, like that whole thing. There could have been more stock. Maybe it's not one of a kind, right? And so then Dobu just like lies. He's like, I don't know, like it just be like that sometimes, you know? Do you play? And I love this. Again, like this is so creepy in terms of the movement, like how he's like bobbing up and down. He's like circling him like a vulture, like, did you play? Right? I think that was just so good. Like, it just does so much for the scene. And Dobu's just like, nah, never played it, right? Right now, the #1 ranked account in Zuden is Ditch 11. And I do wonder how, like, did Dobu hack it? Like, they never explained why Dobu's account was the top. Like, was it just circumstance? Is there like, you know, did Dobu like do something illegal, or did he just have like so much money from like his gang activity he put it into the mobile game? Like, I feel like he must have hacked it or something, but like we never, like, you know, that was never addressed, or at least it probably won't be. Like, we don't know how it's the top account, I guess. I sent that account a message to confirm something. I asked them if they used online auction 16 years ago. They said they did, which means they're the person who conned me out of 100,000 yen, right? When I was in grade school. And I do wonder if this will mean that Otokawa will give him 100,000 yen now that Dobu's dead, like just to make it even. But also that's Imai's money. So I'm saying like Otokawa would have to do that like from his own pocket, you know? Like maybe that'll be the resolution to like the whole Gotcha Guy thing, is Otokawa will basically make it square with him, right? We'll like give him some money. Let me see your phone. I want to check if Zuden is installed on it. If not, I'll leave you alone, right? And so that was the funny part. I'm like, Dobu, just give him your phone if you don't have it, right? You might be a new boss I have to defeat. Because that's the interesting thing, right? Is basically what he's saying is like, you know, I lost the resolve to kill Otokawa, but my energy is renewed by the fact that there may be a new boss. You know what I mean? It's almost like if you're playing a game and you've been grinding a lot so you're burnt out, but then the game has a new update, right? Like something like Genshin or something. So his gotcha mentality basically comes back in full force, because it's like, well, actually, I thought I exhausted myself of all the current game content, but there's an update. There may be a new boss, right? And so that basically renews his energy to be a murderer. I'm gonna kill you. Bring it. Do it, kid. Hold on. I'm not sure I follow. Zuden accounts have icons, right? show me Ditch 11's icon. And so then he basically shows him that it's Dobu, and we can tell it's Dobu. I don't know if we'd be able to tell all the way back in that episode where they showed Ditch 11. I don't remember if they showed the icon, but again, we know this, right? Like, we know this because we have Odokawa vision, and then Odokawa looks at him and says it's him, right? And I think that's an act of both things. Like, first of all, Dobu is getting, like, karma, right? And also, like, now, like, the gotcha guy only has one bullet, so if it's gonna be him or Odokawa, may as well be Dobu, right? Killing two birds with one stone type of thing. So I really like that action of, like, Otokawa's self-preservation, but also, like, hey, like, if there's a bus coming, I may as well throw Dobu under it, right? He deserves it. And so it just all worked out for him, right? And I think that that was his plan all along to an extent. Like, I think the reason why he put the tracker device in the car was so, like, he thought that Dobu got shot at the wharf, like, genuinely. And so I think that his mindset, like, I don't think he knew about any of this, like the Zuden thing, right? Obviously not. But his mindset was, well, the gotcha guy shot Dobu, so maybe when it comes down to it, he'll just shoot Dobu again. Like, I feel like that was it. Or he'll be so occupied trying to get his gun back, they'll just, like, beat each other to death. You know what I mean? And so either way, like, I think Otokawa's plan was Dobu will want his gun back, so he'll just beat this guy up and my problem will be solved. That guy won't want to kill me anymore. So I don't think that he knew that this would be the outcome, but it was definitely, like, strategic and things just worked out, right? Like, oh, you know, you tricked me. Nobody asked me about any online auctions. And then it's like, well, you lied because you had a guilty conscience, right? And so I just love, like, his expressions in this scene. You know, you're the one who conned me out of the 1,000 yen. Since then, my life has fallen apart. It's your fault, right? And then Dobu goes to say, I know you don't have any bullets left. Like, go ahead and shoot me, right? That's not good. That's a mistake, right? Obviously, because we know that he does have one. And I love how Otokawa just covers his ears. And then, so this is going to be the interesting thing with the gotcha guy, okay? Like, the gotcha guy acts like he is in pain himself, you know what I mean? Like, he screams, and so that could just be like, you know, primal, like, vindication or something, but he holds himself as if he's the one that got shot, and then he runs away. And so I wonder if that's like a metaphor, you know, when you take a life, like, you'll be the one feeling the pain, but he just runs off. And so I wonder, like, what's the resolution gonna be? Is Otokawa gonna find him and maybe give him some money or something, right? And then Otokawa's just like, okay, well, stay still, you know, take me to a doctor, Otokawa. There is an unlicensed doctor I'm well acquainted with. So see, that's the interesting thing, because there actually was a mention of a doctor in an earlier episode, right? They talk about, like, oh, you know, the doc told me such and such. Like, Yano was saying that, and I was like, who are they talking about? They're not talking about Gariki, right? Unless they mean, I guess Shirakawa was a nurse or something. But, like, we still don't know who this doctor is, and there isn't a character that I can think of. Like, if it's not the boss, right, like, who would it be? Like, there's nobody else in the cast right now that I can think of at the moment. So anyway, so Otokawa's just like, you know what? You should go to the hospital. I'm just going to take your keys, put it where you can't get to it, all right? You know, it finally caught up to you. So he puts it under the wheel for Imai. Don't screw with me, Otokawa. Like, that's big talk for somebody that's, like, lying on the floor and bleeding, Dobu. Because I do feel bad for him to an extent, because it does seem like he thought, like, him and Otokawa were, like, friends, but he also should have seen this coming, because it is karma, right? And it's interesting that they make you feel bad for him, but also not, because I definitely felt both, because there's something about, like, somebody, like, begging for their life that is still sad no matter what that person did, but then it's also like, you know, it just be like that. And now Imai can get his money, right? Like, he can go to the parking lot, get the money, take the car, and leave. And so that's good. Stay calm. The police may be here, but, like, stay calm, stay here like you belong here, and, you know, they'll figure it out, basically, right? Anyway, shit, I'll give you the 100 million yen later. And so that's interesting, because I'm not sure what Otokawa was saying. I don't think that that was it. I think it was Otokawa being like, okay, well, I gotta run, Imai, sorry. Anyway, meanwhile, Big Diamon has been beat up over here, right? And so I really do like this scene between them, right? Like, finally confronting each other. It is kind of weird how these people are just watching. They didn't do anything about this, right? And so then he says, bro, you always called me an idiot, but in the end, you're the bigger idiot. Was it Yano's crew that beat you up? Yeah, so I guess they don't have guns and stuff, right? Let's go arrest them for interference with public duties, inflicting bodily injury. I can't, I'm going to be arrested too. And so then he starts to cry and he says, of course, after all, you're evil, right? And so what I kind of liked about this scene is that he cries, but then you see, like, one tear is the big one, and then one tier is the little one to represent that one was the older brother and the other was the younger brother, right? Why did you have to side with Dobu, right? Because he's like, I'm going to arrest you because you're evil, right? But then he finds out that his brother wasn't evil after all, that there was actually a more gray reason, right? I think is why he decides not to arrest him after all, because he realizes that his brother was never evil or corrupt, but they actually did it, you know, for a I don't want to say a virtuous reason, because there really is no reason, but he felt indebted to the boss, right? Do you remember this? And so again, this is the same thing that Odokawa has in the car, which I really like the reveal of this. I think I remember seeing it when we graduated from police school. They gave it to you once you stop receiving payments from the foundation for kids orphaned by traffic accidents. What about it? The person who gave this to me is Dobu's boss, right? So Dobu's boss was the benefactor the entire time for both them and Odokawa, right? And so that's why he helped Dobu. You've got a strong sense of justice. I didn't think that you'd forgive me, right? And he says, I won't. No, I will. After all, you're my brother, right? So I think the law won't forgive you, but I will forgive you, right? And so I think that the whole idea is that he realizes that his brother wasn't evil at all, right? You know, like his brother wasn't like willingly trying to be corrupt. He was trying to pay back the debt that the boss had basically, given them money so they could live and not be in poverty and things like that. What Yano and his guys did is even more unforgivable, so we're gonna go arrest them, right? And so I feel like that the realization here is really that, like, not everything is so black and white, you know what I mean? Like, yes, you worked with Dobu, but you know, Yano and his guys, like, they did something more evil, so let's go arrest them together and, like, actually chase after our justice, right? And so I feel like that was a really nice, like, turn of the character for him, is that he realized that his brother wasn't evil at all. It was just sort of like he felt indebted to Dobu's boss and everything, and that's why he's been doing all this. And so then he realizes, like, well, if my brother isn't evil, we can still punish evil together, right? And so I wonder if they will actually go together, but we're not really sure, right? So I hope so. And then we see baby Odokawa, right? There's a little Odokawa in the flashback. So I feel like next episode, we're gonna get like Odokawa backstory, right? Obviously, Goriki is here with the doctor seeing the brain scan and everything. Then we have the police chase. Oh, it does seem like they go together. I forgot that I took this picture, right? And so, anyway. And then we see, like, the comedians together. We don't really know, like, what their whole deal is. Did they win? Did they lose? Did they quit? Who knows? But see, this is what I mean by, like, that there's kind of the foreshadowing of, like, some sort of car accident, because we see, like, this, like, breaking the barricade or something, right? And so then we see Kikihana, we see the gotcha guy, we see Shirakawa, we see Sakura, right? And so I guess what I'm just hoping is, I wonder if, like, all of this is gonna get resolved. And again, we have the water, which makes me think that Odokawa was gonna drown. I want to see everything wrap up nicely, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, I want to see the gotcha guy stuff, like, wrap up nicely. Like, I want to see everything wrap up. And I just wonder if they can do that in episode 13, because it seems like that we need to get a little bit of Odokawa backstory. Like, say that's like 5 minutes, or even if it's less, like, there's still 15 minutes of having to arrest people, you know what I mean? And, like, capture the murderers and reveal that Sakura did it. Like, or you could even argue, though, that maybe, like, there will be no justice, that Sakura won't be arrested, that this story was really about Odokawa all along, and so it's not about, like, oh, you know, like, having a ending with a bow where, like, you know, the gotcha guy gets some money from Odokawa, and then, you know, the gang gets arrested and everybody, you know, because I don't think this is going to be a live happily ever after story, but you may even argue that it's not even, like, necessary to tie up all those loose ends. It's not even necessary for Sakura to get arrested, because Odokawa's story was never about, like, you know, finding Mitsuya's murderer, right? That was something involved, but that was never what the story was about. And so you could even argue that that doesn't need to be wrapped up, right? That, like, she doesn't need to get arrested for us to be satisfied. But I don't know, like, I feel like they will satisfy us. I just wonder how they'll do it. Like, it's going to be very interesting to see how they can pull it off. And with that, I guess that's all for me. There isn't really a lot to discuss here, because we basically are wrapping up. You know, like in the earlier episodes, there's time to theorize and everything, but especially when we're basically just wrapping everything up, I focus more on like the foreshadowing and the themes and stuff like that, not necessarily like, let's like deconstruct like such and such, right? And so now like I'm just sort of like, well, you know, we've done everything that we can, and so the next analysis will really be like closing thoughts more so, right? And so I hope that you guys enjoyed. Thank you for attending Calxiyn's Royal Court today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!